want to introduce Shaily today, and we trained her and placed her on a project at Association of American Medical Colleges in Washington DC, and she's been working there for a few months. So she's one of you who's gone through the same training program. She comes from a non-IT background as well. For those of you who are specifically curious in that sense, and having gone through the entire training and our placement support program, and now on the job where she's practicing what she's learned, which is, I'm sure all of you, that's the reason why you're attending today, and that's the reason you'll be going through the training to see yourself as a business analyst on your first project. So I thought it'll be interesting for you to ask any questions and get her candidate's side of the story. And that's why I've invited here. So thank you so much, Shaily, for spending your time over the weekend. I know you're in New York. She was trying to come here, but she had to travel, and hence she cannot make it. But I appreciate taking your time over the weekend and calling in.
No problem.
All right, Shaily. I'll start with a few basic questions that most people might have in their mind, and then I'll open up the floor for any participant questions. And Vamshi, if you can relay any questions from your classroom, I'll do that from Virginia as well, and we'll take it from there. So first question is, having gone through the training, after the training, what was it like? What was the resume preparation process, interview preparation process that you carried out now that you have a job and you're doing well there? What was it like, having gone through the training? How was it to face the first job, and how was the preparation that we gave you to get you there?
It was pretty good. I mean, you have to do a lot of studying on your own, a lot of research, and, kind of like go through the recordings on to get a better understanding as well. I mean, it's a 5-week class that teaches you a lot of things, but you also have to do some work on your part to prepare yourself. But the training that's been provided has been very helpful.
That's great. And
every aspect of business analysis, so it gives you a real-time experience.
Okay, and I definitely support Shaily's point, because this is not just about going through a 5-week training and then great, you can start a job readily. Like I said, this is a roadmap for you to kind of understand what needs to be done to get into this career, and you have to invest a lot of time outside of the classroom to figure things out, to read, or to generally expand your knowledge base so that you're confident at the interview. So that's definitely a valuable suggestion there. So Shaily, in your current project, what is the software process like? How big is your team? Can you walk us through a little bit about what your current job looks like and how it was day one?
Sure. Well, we have in our organization, it's a pretty big organization. We have about a team of 20 BAs. Every BA has a responsibility of working in 1 or 2 projects simultaneously. If it's a high-profile project, we just put on one project, but most of the BAs will work for at least 2 projects at the same time. My project is one of the biggest projects that we have, and I work 100%. Software that we use is Blueprint. A lot of people are not familiar with it. It's a requirements analysis tool, and it's a learning process. Everywhere you go, first couple of months, you have to go through the learning curve, and people will understand. It doesn't matter how many years of experience you have. They'll give you, because every organization does things differently, and the whole business analysis process is different depending on what organizations you're in. I mean, some people use use cases, some don't. So, they'll give you enough time to settle in. I mean, they'll give you enough time to go through the learning curve. So it has been okay. It hasn't been, it's been hard. It was hard in the beginning because there's just a lot of things to learn. But after a couple of months, you'll be fine.
All right. Great, Shaily. Thanks for the feedback. And just to reiterate, the tool that Shaily mentioned was called Blueprint, BLUE print. And you mentioned some organizations use use cases, some do not. What about your current project, Shaily? What is the requirement methodology there?
Well, for this iteration, for the last 2 iterations, we used use cases, and the use case format was a little different than what we've learned.
Okay.
In class, which was probably the right way. So every organization does use cases differently. So, but the next iteration, we're not doing use cases at all. What we're doing is, as we go to elicit the requirement, we're doing a Visio process map. And then based on those process maps, we'll create artifacts like this requirement document, or this iteration we're going to do a technical requirement, which comes from the development team. So I wouldn't be a part of that. I'd be there to, answer any questions that we might have based on requirement elucidation process, but I won't be creating that artifact. And sometimes we'll do a functional spec, sometimes we'll do a business requirement, really depending on the nature of the iteration and what modules are going to be covered in that particular iteration.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And you seem pretty comfortable speaking about the technical lingo and going through that process. To the first-time user, you wouldn't come across as someone who is new to IT at all. So what advice do you have for someone who is starting this career, new to IT, they are starting with this course as their first input for this BA career? What advice would you give? How can they get to the point where you are, where you have a job and you are able to talk the talk and walk the walk, clear an interview successfully, and be on the job successfully?
My biggest suggestion would be to be an observer for the first couple of weeks and just kind of try to understand the process and, be very open about communication. Have great relationships with the tech team, development, whatever it takes, and try to understand the process as much as possible. Picking up the technical words is not a big deal at all. I mean, as you go to all these meetings, you pick up, and they don't expect you to know everything, like no organization does. So I wouldn't worry about that too much at all. I mean, I came from a so non-IT background where I didn't know, what the kickoff was, the meal, like how do you kick off a meeting, like basic stuff I didn't know, and it's not easy to, it's not hard to learn those kind of things, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
So, just speak enough to get by. I mean, don't be talking too much about it, like experience and stuff, like just observe, and then after the first month is over, you be comfortable at your own pace. Learn as much, read as much as you can. Any document that they have, any document that you can get your hands on that they already have on that existing tool or whatever the project is about, just read that. You have to do your homework even after coming home for a couple of months so that you are familiar with the process,
Right.
Because there would be a certain level of expectation that you'll have for you to perform, and it's not going to be totally unrealistic, but it'll be fine.
It's knowing when to talk and knowing what to learn and then reproduce it the next time you have that assignment, I guess.
Right.
And how many months are you in AMC, Shaily, now? How long it's been?
A little over 3 months.
Little over 3 months, okay. So far, do you like how it is, overall the project, what you're learning? Do you enjoy your work as a BA?
I love my job as a BA. The only thing is I'm on this one of the most difficult projects, so.
Yeah, sometimes the projects can get too demanding, and I know for a fact that Shaily's one is pretty challenging, and she has to put a lot on her daytime. It's a demanding project that she's on, but she's able to manage it, and she's doing it.
Any of my weekends or any of my evenings, just very busy. But it's been a learning experience, and people. The effort that you put will be acknowledged. The people are able to acknowledge what I've done, and
Right.
they're appreciative of it. But it just depends on the project. I guess I've just done one of those challenging projects.
Exactly.
It's a good learning experience so far.
And in a way, it's tough on a newcomer. Like first BA project is so demanding, but you need to know and you need to do what you got to do for your first project at least, and be ready to keep running. Like Shaily mentioned, it's definitely a good experience. And on the positive side, it trains you so much for your entire career. Forget about your first job, but you know so much. And right now, you can see how confident she is when she discusses what her day job is. So that's a plus on the same side. Shaily, how many interviews did you go through before the AMC position?
I did 2.
You did two, one with the vendor and one with the client.
Well, I did one with the vendor, and then I did two with the client.
Two with the client, okay. All right, I just wanted to kick off with some generic questions, so I'll open up the floor for any other questions. Let's start with the online participants. If you have any questions, please say your name and then shout out.
Sure. Hi, this is Alumni. My question to you, Shiley, is that how long after your completion of your course were you able to get a job? I would say 6 weeks, just because I was traveling in and out of the country. But in my case, I would say it was about 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. I think.
And what's your background? I mean, do you have any prior?
Finance and accounting.
I'm sorry?
Finance and accounting.
Finance. So are you an MBA?
Yes.
Okay, and so do you have any prior work experience also?
Yes. In finance.
For how many years?
Like a couple, I think. 2, 3 years.
Back home in India or here?
No, here.
Oh, so you were already working here?
Yeah. But that shouldn't be, that's not a problem. You pick it up. It's not,
No, do you think that since you were already working here, that would have assisted you in changing your stream and getting another job?
In terms of communication skills, yes. But in terms of learning the actual work, no. Because you would have to go, every time you go into a different project, you'd have to learn all the dynamics of the project, and that's how you would mold people to.
I know what that is.
And if she was into a finance project or an accounting related project, she would have definitely utilized her past skill set and experience. Then that would definitely give her a push, because she at least knows the lingo, she knows what they're talking about. Let's say when they talk about accounts receivable, payable, or account entry, she'll know what they're talking about. For this particular project, it was healthcare, so it was not relevant to her background and experience, but certainly it would be an advantage to bring any experience that you have onto the table and craft your resume using that, so that at least on your resume you'll be confident about what it says. It's your area, and that's what we did for Shaily. We recommended that we still put projects in the area of finance and accounting that she's familiar with, based on all the work that she's done in the past. So at the interview, you're not getting tripped. So I would say if you have prior experience, it's definitely a big plus, and you should take that to your advantage rather than starting as a fresher BA, but more on the experience level.
No, as in my case, I do have prior experience, but my experience has been all from India. I have been doing freelancing. I have been working I was basically into the print media, and I have worked for all these foreign publications, but from India itself. I have never worked in US. So I really do not know how will it be for me to break through this market.
Okay, I mean again,
Personally, I would say your experience in India, the way I would take is, the type of experience you have is, how to communicate with people, how to write up information. You're good at that. So that would be your strength when you apply a job. You don't have to know everything about industries here, because you can learn it. It's not rocket science to learn them, okay? You can learn about healthcare or finance through some additional courses and stuff like that. But you have certain skills that you cannot learn, like writing things or communicating with people. Since you worked in print media and with good publications, that certain skills nobody would even have and nobody can get through that at training. That's your advantage.
Right. I agree.
yeah, thanks.
BAs, those are the personal traits that they need to have. I'm sure you have an added advantage there, since you already did that type of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Vamshi. And just to reiterate to Vamshi's point, all of us have something that we can bring from our past background. Most of us, I would say. If you're fresh out of college and you're looking at something, again, like he said, you can go into some domain training and get familiarized and comfortable with that domain and then apply from there. But most of us have some sort of an industry experience, be it IT or non-IT, that we can bring to the table, because business analysis, to a certain extent, it's common sense. It's putting more structure to that common sense approach, so that we have a safeguard that we can't go wrong, or we have this defined pathway set for us. That's what the analysis tools and techniques teach you. But overall, you need to have this analytical mind, and that's a personal trait. So just try.
And especially for your case, there would be a lot of requirements with business analyst plus a technical writer experience or technical writing. Who can work as a PA but also help them in some product documentation or user page documentation. You'd be the first person to pick if you say that I already have working in this type of publications.
So, makes me feel better.
Yeah, and basically what you're saying is
And how you use your experience to your advantage,
exactly play with your strengths. That's the bottom line. Play with your strengths, because this is a field which is multifaceted. You have personality, you have language, you have communication, you have analysis. It's multifaceted. It's not like programming. It's based on your logic alone. It's different areas. So you
Just keep
probably have some background that you can bring from your prior experience to suit to this BA profile. That's what we are prodding you to think about. And when we do the resume prep, that's what we do. We give you a long questionnaire, and based on your responses to that questionnaire is when we suggest domains and subdomains that you can pick up and be more successful with.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any other questions from here in the classroom? All right. Vamshi, any questions from guys there?
No, I mean, if they ask, it will be hearing, you can hear them.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Any other questions, folks on the phone? All right, then we'll wrap this up. And if you think of any other questions, just email me or Vamshi, and we'll be sure to relay it to Shaily and request her response. So thank you again, Shaily, for your time, especially over the weekend when you're not in town. We really appreciate that you were able to call in and help us out. I'm sure everyone appreciates and benefits from a pure perspective to this course and this whole prep process.
Right, yeah. No problem, my pleasure.
All right, thank you so much, Shaily.
No problem. Bye, good luck, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, bye.